What's going on, YouTube? We're going to do a quick lesson on the Dorian mode here in kind of my series that I'm doing. We'll say for the modes. I love this mode here. Let me just show it to you first here, tell you the notes, and then we will kind of go through some of its uses, applications, how it relates to the major scale, and all those kinds of things. So let's start out. We're going to do this in G, okay? So it's going to be relative to F major. We'll get into that. But we're going to play G Dorian here. So we're going to start with 3 on your low E string. 3, 5, 6. And then on your A string, we're going to have 3, 5, 7. And then the same pattern on your D string. 3, 5, 7. And then you're going to have just 3 and 5 on your G string. And then you're going to have on your B string 3, 5, 6. Same thing on your high E. 3, 5, and 6. Okay. So those are the notes that are in the Dorian scale, or Dorian mode of the major scale, right? So that's the second mode of the major scale. So it's relative to F major. So the second note in F major is G, right? So if you started the scale of F major but if you started with those notes but started it on this note on G, you get G Dorian. So that's how the modes work. Now, I really like this mode. Now, there's obviously, how is this useful, right? How are you going to use this? So, I talked about this a little bit with the Phrygian mode, how I really liked it for kind of its placement. When you're improvising and as like a connector scale, and also same thing with the Dorian scale, because it's always going to be right next to your major, right? So if you're in F major, it's like the next neighborhood, right? It's your next position on the fretboard. So once again, valuable in that sense if you're just playing in F major and just wanting to move down the fretboard. Now if we're sticking to G Dorian, this scale of Dorian, right? There's also the same thing you can do as we talked about with Phrygian of superimposing it over a minor, G minor, right? So you have a G minor, which would usually have this note, right? Instead of this E here, you're gonna have this E flat here, okay? So that would be natural minor, is what I was getting at. I'm sorry, lost my train of thought, you guys. Oh, it's been a rough day. I was watching football today, and I'm a Bears fan, and they got their behinds handed to them. It was ugly. If any of you guys you guys will know when I probably recorded this if any of you guys are fans. Anyway, back to the lesson. So G minor would usually have this note on your B string, which is the 4th fret. But with this Dorian mode, right, we're playing the major 6th, which is going to be E natural in G. So you can play that over your G minor. Sounds pretty cool, right? You get a lot of that Santana. Right, that kind of stuff. So, now to get technical, some of that stuff's relative, and that's why it sounds perfect a lot of the times. People think he's superimposing that into G minor, which sometimes he is. Other times he's playing what's known as like a 2-5, right? So if you're playing a G minor, which is the 2 chord of F major, right? And if you're playing that to to a D major, which is gonna, oh, I'm sorry, a C major, which is gonna be the 5 of F major, right? So you're playing 2/5 in F major, technically, if you do that. So you're not really playing out of scale. Okay, so that's not really superimposing, really. Now it kind of is, depending on when you play that major 6. Okay, so, but getting back to just keeping this pretty basic, what's cool about this scale is that really is just the only difference from the minor scale. Is that major 6th, okay? So, yeah, lots of cool uses for this scale, because as I just kind of went through, the 2/5s are really common, you know, just superimposing it over a G minor progression, right? So you can still, you know, get a little bit outside of the box using that kind of approach, right? Superimposing that Dorian scale into like a progression that's just straight G minor. Also, too, it's, I would say the bigger piece of it is that being one of the modes of the major scale, it's important that you just know all the modes so you can connect them all. And for instance, if we're playing in F major, you want to know every mode so that you know every note available to you. So you gotta know what each mode, just to connect that. But once you know all those, then you know it's easy because it's the same patterns for everything. So you just, you know, any key you're in, you just copy and paste, right, where you're starting beginning. But and you know, everything, you know, is just your 12 frets, right? Just one octave. So just think of it that way. And yeah, and really, just it's important to you know, have as much fretboard knowledge as possible so that you don't have to be jumping around, right? If, like, let's say you're playing something, you know, let's say you're playing some country in F, right? So if you want to use your F major scale, so when you're here, you're going to get to your C chord, or your B flat, your 4 chord, right? You don't necessarily want to have to be shifting around, so you want to always have, like, oh, well, now you're, the Dorian, remember, that's going to be F major, right? So when you get back to the F, you're right here. Right? It all connects. So, yeah, everything's just like connectors that you're using, right? So, hope that helps. That is the Dorian mode. We will go through all of them. I'm not really going through them in order. I think I've already posted the Phrygian video, but I'll do all of them. Just kind of in the order maybe that I use them. I'll probably do like Mixolydian next. You know, I'll probably go through the ones that are commonly used first, and then we'll just end with the ones that aren't as, you know, common. There's also writing in the modes, which we can get into as well. A small example is what we talked about earlier, like a 2/5, right, in F. That would be considered like kind of like modal, right? That's kind of technically in like G Dorian, right? Because it starts in G, so like that feels like home. You know, you wouldn't really say that that's in F, right? So, you know, there's that whole aspect of it too. So, fun rabbit holes to go down. But for now, those are the notes, just so you know them. I was really long-winded. I meant for this to be quicker. So, sorry guys. Much love. Like I said, rough day today. Anyway, so glad that we have music as the medicine, right? So, keep on picking. I'll see you on the flip. And, yeah. Oh, like, subscribe, and share if you were so kind. All right, later, y'all. Peace.